Good morning, everyone. Sorry for technical issues. We delayed our program for 30 minutes. We are going to start as soon as possible. This is Nihat, Director of Yeoksam Global Village Center, and we are organizing year-end program called All in One. And from today, you are going to learn about visa, employment, scholarship, business, and tax all in Korea. Thank you for joining us, and we are going to have the first session with Mr.Jang from Visa in Korea. Probably most of you know about him. He's a very well-known professional in this industry, and please welcome him with big applause. Even we can't hear, still I would love you to give him a big welcoming applause. Thank you.
Hello, this is Mr. Jang. So today, Mr. Nihat and Yeoksam Global Village Center, thank you for having very great chance to explain the visa system in Korea. And also, Mr. Nihat and Yeoksam Global and Village Center has a lot of the programs for the foreigners that residing in Korea or the staying overseas. So Mr. Nihat and Yeoksam Global Village Center, make more programs for the expat, right? So this is one of the programs. So I'd like to introduce today's and the residence visa. We can call it an F-7 and visa. So let us start. A little bit late, so I will explain a little bit more faster than I expected. So please kind of understand our situation right now. So let us start. Okay, first of all, the most important thing is who can apply for the F-7 visa. So most of all, you must understand the eligible applicant. There are three types of the applicant, and the types based on the criteria of F-7 and issued by December 1st, 2020. The first one is the professionals and semi-professional employees. So including the Professor E1 and Language Instructor E2 and E3 to E7, and also D5 news coverage, or D6 and religious and a person, and the D7 intra-company transferees and investment, and the D8 and the trade business and the person's visa as a D9. That kinds of person, if have met the below and the specific and the point, and you can apply for the F-7 and the point-based residence visa. And the first one, you need to get the 80 points. And at least if you want to apply for the F-7 with the current your E1 and 2 E7, E1 to E7 and D8 and D9 visa, right? So the point chart I will explain later. Then you need 80 points. And also the basic and the period stay is required. So the basic and the period is required for the 3 years with the eligible applicant visa, right? E1 to E7 and D8 and D9. If you hold it like more than 3 years, you can apply for the F-7. with 80 points. But there are some of the exceptions. So if your previous year's income is more than 40 million won, so you can apply for the F27 without the waiting for 3 years. So 40 million won is based on your income certificate for the last year. So I will explain in more details and later then. And also, if you are holding D2 or you had a D2 and changed job seeking and the D10 visa, if you have this one, and also having the master's in Korea, so you don't need 3 years to wait, right? So if you are the finder, the sponsor company to hire you and at a point with a master degree and after that you can apply for that. Now also I will explain more further details later then. Anyway, and after the F27 visa acquisition, and you have to extend like a 1 year or 2 year later then, but I will explain the further details later then also. And there is disqualifications and employment restrictions, right? So if you have the criminal record and if you had that kind of the situation is a kind of difficult to apply for the F27 because the immigration officers may check your domestic and the criminal record as well as overseas your criminal record. So when you prepare for the F27, it'll be better to check your criminal background from your home country, and it'll be better to prepare for your the criminal record from your home country with an apostle or the Korean embassies and like a consular, the confirmation and stamp. And also, the simple job means after 7, actually it is a kind of an outstanding talent in a person, right? So if you're working at some of the like a simple jobs, it is not exactly not available. So we will talk on a further later then. Okay, let's move to the next one. The first one I explain about the professionals or the semi-professional employees. So if you if it's somebody and holds E1 to E7 and the investment and the visa holders need an edit point and need 3 years and exceptions 40 million won for the last year's income, and that I said that it is mandatorily required. The type 2 for the eligible applicant is international student. International student, they also need 80 points, right? And the period is required for the 3 years, including the D2 and the D10, the job seeking and the period totally. So, and also domestic degree, you need to have the master degree or higher. So for example, like a D2-3 or a D2-4, the master degree, the course or the PhD course, you have to complete it and you need to get your academic degree, right? I'm saying academic degree, not your graduation certificate, right? So immigration officer may check your academic degree rather than the graduation. But as you know, like a master degree holder, right? But if somebody holding the D2-3 and after graduated, but if they cannot pass the paper and the period and the qualification, so they can graduate, but they cannot get the master degree. So you need a master degree or the PhD degree, not your graduation certificate. And another one is confirmed employment. So D2 visa holder and D10 visa holders cannot work properly. So the most important thing is immigration may check the working contract with your sponsor company. So it means you are qualified for the E1 to E7 actually, right? And based on your confirmed employment contract with your sponsor. So you needed this one. So when you make the working contract with your the sponsor company, right? And the yearly income shall be over GNI 80%. As the GNI is the last year, the 2020 is the GNI, and the gross national income was 37.5 million won. So GNI 80% is around the 30 million won at least, right? So this is mandatorily required. And also the disqualification and the employment restrictions, as you know, like you must submit your criminal record from your home country with the apostle or the Korean embassies and stamp. Okay. The last one is listed company employment, right? Even though you don't have any like income certificate issued by the tax office for the previous year, but if you are still working at the listed company, like such as Kospi and Costa company, right? But you can check through the Google or the Naver, and you can check and put the company's name, and you can check that the company is a part of the listed companies or not, okay? And also listed company employment and the person's need and 80 points, right? 80 points when you apply for the after 7. And also the master degree or higher is more recommendable. And the most important thing is and the working contract. So, but I will check and explain later then. But the most important part of a points is your income, right? The previous and the after 7-point chart is based on the just your academic degree and Korean proficiency. But it is a new and the point system has the focus on the income. But listed company, it is not that important for your previous year's income. So when you then check your point and for the listed company, it is based on your just working contract. So if your working contract is more than the 40 million won, so you don't need to wait for the 3 years. So you just apply for that and directly. So also, and if your working contract, the amount is like a more than 40 or something like that. So without the like a 1-year income certificate is issued, and you can use your working contract as your point, based on your working contract amount. So it is a very good benefit for the listed company employment and the persons, okay? But anyway, the most important thing that I said that you need to get the 80 point. Without the 80 point, you don't have any chance. Even like you are still working at a professional field in Korea, or you got a master degree or the PhD degree, or you're working or you hired at like a Kospi and Kostak and listed companies, and you need to meet the 80 points. So we can check the basic points chart. So you need to get 80 points out of 170 points. So age 25 points and education level based on your academic degree, 25, and the Korean language ability, the maximum 20 points, and yearly income, and 0 and the point to the 60 point, and the extra point is totally 40 and a point. And also there are like the deducted points, right? So when you calculate and the points are 80 or more, you are eligible, right? The first one, age, is based on the passport and the age. So 18 to 24 and 23 point. And if you are getting older, points are, getting smaller. So 23 to 3 points, but you may check this chart. And the education is based on your academic degree. So the associate degree 2-year and the college, right? Liberal art is the 10 points, and the science, engineering, or if you got the degrees of a liberal art in 15, and the bachelor's 4-year universities and degree with a liberal arts and a major 15 points, and the 17 point for the science and engineering and a major, and more than the degrees of liberal art and 17 points. And a master degree and doctorate degree, you may check that based on my explanation, okay? And the Korean language ability, right? It is based on the topic and the Korean language and the test, or the KIIP and the Korea Immigration and Integration Program. This is 사회통합 program. But topic you can test from the overseas, but KIP you have to and the registered, and then you have to stay in Korea to take any classes, okay? So if you have the topic 1 or KIIP and stage 1, you may get 3 points. It's getting and the very small points and give you, because the last time is more higher than the previous the version of the FT7, the system, but it is getting harder, right, to get a higher point. And the topic 2 and KIP and the stage 2 level, and you may get a 5 point, and topic and KIP and the 3 and the 10, and topic 4 and the KIP stage 4 and the 15. And topic 5 KIP stage 5, and then you may get 20 points. So if you need to get a higher point, and taking Korean classes are mandatorily required, right? And the next one is the yearly income, and based on that I said, based on your last year's income, and issued by the tax office. So when you submit it and a point related document, you must submit it and the income certificate issued by your tax office, not from your company, okay? So yearly income based on the last year's income, and so based on these documents, and you may get 10 points, and the minimum wage to the less than 30 million won, and the 10 point, and the 32 and the less than 40 and a million won, and 30 point to 100 million won or more, you may get 60 and a point. The most important thing is the minimum wage is around 22 million won. If we calculate based on like the hourly and the minimum wage to do 209 hours per month. So totally 12 months in the minimum yearly, and the wage shall be over 22 million won. So if your last year's income is more than 22 million won to less than 30 million won, and you may get 10 points. But if your the last year's income less than 22 million won, there is no any point for you. Okay, this is the basic information about the which kind of a document can you you must submit to immigration office to get the points, right? So it is based on employment the income. So income certificate, right, issued by the tax office. So some of the persons and run their own business in this case. But if your company is a corporate, and you are just every February you just submitted your income, and you may get income certificate in May, right? But if you run your own business like a private company, you must submit a comprehensive and the tax in May, every May, and the income certificate will be issued in every July. So the two types of income that I explained right now. The first one, employment income, right, is based on your working contract And another one is the business income, right? This is based on the company time. So the corporate, if you run your own business, right, at the corporate company, and you can submit it your 근로소득, right, employment income as your the last year's income. But as I informed you before, if you work the more than two in the companies, or you run your private company, right, so you have to submit your comprehensive income certificate, right? So more detailed, like income or tax related issues, right? Today, the Chris Lee may explain more further, okay? Okay, move to the next one. Income guideline is, but you may read this, but I just read for you. Within 2 years from the date of application, the amount of income subject to tax for 1 year listed, and the income certificate of the most recent year that can be issued by the tax office is evaluated as annual income, but only legal income activities, right? Only legal income activities recognized by the applicant status of states are accepted. So you must check that even if you work for the someone, but you didn't report to the tax office, it is not acceptable, okay? This is one of the critical issues right now because of the presidential and the decree of immigration law, Article 23, because most of the F-27 visa holders before knew the F-7 rule, the released December 1st, 2020, they mostly understood that F-7 can run their own business before December 1st last year. But right now, also even like immigration officers allows them to run their own business, right, before the new the point system started. But I've heard a lot of the F-7 visa holders, they gave up the F-7 visa within before the September this year, because when they submitted to the extension, right, when they visit the immigration office to extend your F-7 visa, right, but the immigration officer cannot accept the income for the business. This is the most complicated thing. So that's why some of the persons persons in F-7 visa has extended based on their a business income the last year. But most of the F-7 visa holders, and they failed to extend the visa before the September this year. In this reason, I just submitted the petition to the headquarters of the immigration office regarding this situation. So now finally, I got some of the comments from the headquarters of the immigration office due to the solving that kind of recurrent very headache problems. So finally, Minister of Justice has decided to accept the business income of a person with a F2, including F-7 visas, to calculate the point when handling several complaints such as extension of period of stay and change of status of stay until relevant laws and regulations are amended. This is a very important thing because before having this very important and a guideline from the headquarters of the immigration office that I said already, the most of the F-7 visa holders they gave up their F-7 visa. So that was the critical issues, right? So that's why I got a 2 times interview with the Korea Times regarding these issues. But anyway, right now, when you extend your F-7 visa, right, and you can use your last year's and the business income. So please kindly review that. But even though the immigration office and allows you to you can use your last year's and business income, but it is not allowed to run your own business. This is complicated. But if you have that kinds of more detailed information on that, right? And it's publicly right now, just talking right now. So you may contact Mr. Nihat to the maker the private consultation. This is the most easiest way to explain more further, right? So even if you have a more detailed, right, and the things, and you need to get a consultation for that, you need to contact Mr. Nihat, right? So this is a very excellent and chance to that. Okay, Mr. Nihat, right? Okay. The extra point I will explain very shortly. There is an outstanding talent from the countries that participated in the Korean War, and the recommendation by relevant ministries. It is just for the Korean scholarship student, and it's very difficult to get this 20 and to the 40 point. So most of the person got a Korean scholarship student, and the Ministry of Education may contact you, right? So before you contact to the Ministry of Education, and they are like a Ministry of Education, NIED, they may contact you. So ignore that outstanding talent and a point and a recommendation. And KIP Stage 5 completion, if you complete the Stage 5 after final testing, you may get a 10 additional point. And also, there is an additional point. So if you studied in Korea, right, and you may get additional bachelor and a master and a PhD and the point. And also, if you were the university, domestic or overseas, it doesn't matter. It's a part of 500 top and the universities, right? You may get additional point. Look at this. Is one is for the 500 top university. It doesn't matter about the domestic and overseas. Number 2 point is just for the domestic degree. Okay. Voluntary activities, right? And using 1365. 1365, right? And you may contact to that website, and you may get the where you can support, right, to other persons. And so if you are doing your voluntary activities and for the community services and the public sectors, and you may get 1 to 7 points. So if you're working and voluntarily and at a certain places more than 1 year, you may get 1 and 2 to 3 years and 5, right? And more than 5 years, more than 3 years, 3 years you may get 7. So right now was due to the COVID-19 situations that I ever heard that a lot of foreign residents and in Korea feel like a very difficulties to doing voluntary activities right now, because and even right now is from the tomorrow, and the social distancing will be more stricted, right, than the before. So it's very difficult. But anyway, if based on the date of application of the F27 visa, right, and if your the voluntary activities and certificate and voluntary activities in a period still remains, right? 1 year or 2 years and 3 years, you may use it, right, until, right, and the voluntary activities in the period and the point is accepted. Okay. Deduction point, and you may just check that, but I want to explain one thing, right? If you got the criminal record from the overseas, your home country, right, there is very difficult to apply for that. Even the immigration office finds you the domestic and the violation of the immigration law or criminal the law, and there was a lot of the deductions as well as and your application shall be restricted for the 3 years, right? So read carefully for this case. And the granting period of stay is usually based on the point or income, and the immigration officers may grant you the period of stay with after 7 based on your point or income, but you can check this one. But benefit of after 7 and after 99 visa, but I just made this one. If you wanted Mr. Nihat to send that the presentation file, but it is not that important for this presentation. So right now is we will take your questions and based on your personal and the situation. So we will explain more further with Mr. Nihat. Okay, I will go back to you and place Mr. Nihat. Okay.
last an hour we had visa session with Mr. Jang, and now we are going to get the questions, try to answer the questions which were asked on our chat room. Mr. Jang, thank you first for great session. I thought it will be really short, but you gave all details.
Yes, I try my best, right? Because of there are some technical issues, right? But there are lots of waiting persons there, so that's why is that I can. What I can do is just explain more detailedly, right?
Yeah, we are getting lots of questions. I will just move to the questions.
Okay.
Like we'll start from the bottom, and there's a person who's asking like who's getting 5 points from volunteer work, 20 points from the GKS scholarship, like KGSB scholarship, government scholarship, and top university 20 points, and KIP classes 10 points, and this guy, like overall he can get 55 points, but he's curious about it's mentioned on your presentation that they can get maximum 40 points.
Yes.
So is it right, like they even it can be calculated like 55, but he will get maximum 40?
Yes. So extra point, right? And maximum and points are 40. So even if he has enough point, right, for the additional point, he can only use 40 points.
Only 40 of them.
So I'd like to focused on getting some not optional in a point, right, to get a higher points. Okay. So
I see.
So in summary, is that the extra point is the maximum extra point is within 40.
I see.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for your answer. I'll move to the next question. So those entrepreneurs who's willing to move to Korea, but they are outside of Korea. Actually, this is actually also inside the government policy. Many people, they are interested to move to Korea as entrepreneur. So what kind of business or startup visa they can get?
Okay. First one, if they have their own business, right, in your home country, as if you're the company's and the type is a corporate, right? There are several things that you can do. The first one, you can open your branch office in Korea without any investing 100 million won, right? Or there is a liaison office, right? Dispatching and like a CEO into or very necessary personnel to Korean and the liaison office. So, but anything when they can do and through the dispatching order from the headquarters to the Korea. So, but the liaison office dispatching person and the branch office dispatching person is like the business and the criteria and the activities are different. So if you want to do, doing your business in Korea with a branch office in Korea, right? You have to open your branch office in Korea, not liaison. Liaison office just cannot run their own business in Korea. So if you want to run your own business, right? It's established in the branch office in Korea, and you can do your business here.
And also, as I know, there is a special visa for the startups.
Oh yeah, DA4. There were DA4, the visa there. So if you have the bachelor's degree and from the overseas, or just the technical some of the ideas, or if you have a patent, it is more useful. If you do that and come to Korea and get a 80 point through the global centers education, right? And if you do, you can and open your own the business. But DA4 it's just the startup business based on the technology, right?
Okay. And actually later we'll have a session with Mr. Samer about the business in Korea. We'll talk about details of the startup visa. So those people who has questions about the business, they can ask later. Since we are getting lots of questions, I would love to just mention beforehand. Since we have only 17 minutes left, even if we don't have enough time to listen and answer your questions, please you can contact us through Google form. in our center, Yeoksam Global Village Center. You can just Google Yeoksam Global Village Center, and we have counseling sessions with Mr. Jang, and other professionals in different fields. You can get help from us. Let me move to the next question. Should I be employed continuously to renew my F27 visa?
But actually, as I mentioned you about the 23, Article 23 of Presidential Decree of Immigration Act, that has indicated that after 7 has no limitation for work. It means that the after 7 is a part of a working visa, but it's a very, very, has some benefit than like a E7, right? Like special activity visa, right? After 7 visa holders can move anywhere, any companies. But anyway, so in this case, so if you extend your after 7, you have to prove that you are still working at a certain company. Right, so if you run your own business right now, so you have to submit it, that kinds of a document. So most important thing is, when you extend your after 7, you must work either a company or your company own. Right?
I see. And if our passport expires, can we apply actually for visa extension?
Your passport expires?
Yeah, like I have been living in Korea as a foreigner, and then my passport expired. But I want to go to the immigration to extend my visa. Can I?
No. Okay. The last time, like 2 years ago, if the passport has expired, and just visit the immigration office, I need my extension of my ARC. But while you extend, I just apply for my passport renewal. But from the last year, immigration allows you to stay based on the passport period. For example, when you extend after 7 and you are eligible for extend 1 or 2 years, but if the passport in the remaining period is less than 6 months, and even if you are eligible for 1 or 2 years extension, but immigration may grant you within 6 months based on your passport. So if your passport has expired right now, you cannot extend. So just before that, you check your passport earlier before your visa and extension period.
So it means hurry up to change your passport as soon as possible before applying for the visa. I would love to move to the next question. So there's a person who made a contract, housing contract, on the company name.
Oh, yes.
Is it going to be a problem when they are applying for the next visa extension for F27?
Some of the companies provide their accommodations to the employment, right? So if your company means you are still working at the company, not previous company, right? If you are still working at the company and when you extend and you can submit it, your company is named and rent contract, as well as there is some how to say it in English. This is a certificate for providing and some of the accommodations from your company, right? There is a HIKOREA website. There is some of the forms there.
Permission to live in your house.
So from your company and with a rent contract. If you submitted this one, there is no any specific problem. But main problem is if you worked at some previous company, right? But is still working at a new company. There is no any connection. But if previous company provided you some of the rent house right now, it might be a problem.
I see. And I'll just move to the next question because we are out of time. So there's a person who's asking a question about the person is under D2 but willing to move before graduation, before graduating university, since it's like 4 years university, before graduation, they're willing to move E6, the entertainment visa, and then try to move F2.
Okay.
So, are they going to calculate when the person finishing university with D2, like the D2 person is not on the D2, now they are on the E6, but are they going to calculate the visa period also with D2 or E6?
Oh, okay. But
because condition for D2, like when you apply for the visa with D2 and D6, it's different.
It's different, right? So even if you got the D2 and a master degree, if you have it, even though you just change working visa E1 to E7, it's a E6 is a part of a E1 to E7, right? So if you do, this 3 years period will be calculated based on your working with E6. So 3 years and will be counted from the E6 and 2 3 years, or your previous year's income is more than 40 million won. You have to choose, right? Which one is more beneficial.
So you should have high income, or you should have just same visa. Don't move to E6. Just stay under D2. I think that would be better option for now.
Yes.
We are having more questions.
A lot.
Yeah, lots of them. I don't know how to follow up, and some people even they are saying, please follow the questions, but you know it's not really easy for us. Do we need to proceed original degree certificate while applying F27? So when they graduate university, they are getting the degree certificate, but do they need to submit that certificate to the immigration when they apply for F27?
The domestic university graduate and a person, if you submit it, just a copied one is no problem, because immigration may check your your academic degree is real or not, right?
Yeah.
They may have some of the systems, right? But overseas, if you got the master's degree or bachelor's degree or PhD degrees from the overseas, you must get an apostle or just Korean embassy's stamp. So just a copied one, it is not available. So, but you must understand that, right? So when you get the apostle or just the Korean embassy's stamp on it on the academic degree, and they just get the notary first on the copied one. So immigration office made to check your apostle, original apostle, and they didn't check your the document is a copied one or not. So immigration is a point of view. Just get a real apostille on a copied one is acceptable.
I see. So for making it easy actually for the listeners, I would love to mention, because I was foreigner in Korea. I was foreigner before. Now I became Korean, but still I have that experience, and my family members, they're foreigners. And when they graduate, like in overseas, if they don't have apostille, it's a really big problem. So, and also asking someone to do it for you, it's also, not easy to ask someone to do everything for you. That's better for you if you studied abroad. Definitely do apostille for your degrees. Like if you did bachelor's, master's, PhD, whatever. If you had them, please get apostille and come to Korea.
This is the most important thing, right? So before and enter into Korea, get your diploma or a Korea certificate, apostille, or the Korean embassy and the consular attestation. And this is a more important way and more efficient way, right? So if you submitted that kinds of a document to the immigration office, there is no need to submit it one more time. Even if you change any kind of visa, and immigration office may the scan it and hold it. So just doing it when you are in overseas before entering into Korea, okay?
Perfect. There are so many questions. So someone asking about the points, like how many points we should get for getting 1 year, 2 year, or 3 years visa. So like in case of 80 points goes for 1 year, 100 points goes for 2 years, and 110 points goes for 3 years. Is it right, or can you confirm again?
But actually, if I were the immigration officer, right, I will just follow basic and the criteria that I showed you before, but a little bit different based on the which immigration office or which and immigration officers. So, but mostly they are try to follow the basic rule, and like 80 to 99 is a 1 year, and 100 to 129 points, or just income the point 30 to 49, 1 to 3 years.
Yeah.
But somebody said 100 to 10 maybe get 2 years, but I'm not sure. So that I showed you some of the criteria just for the reference. So all decision will be made by immigration officers in higher position before allowing your F7. Okay.
Yes. So this is all the time actually goes to the at the end. You have to be well with the immigration officer. I think this is same in everywhere, any country you go.
Yeah, everywhere.
You have to be careful with the immigration officer. And also, we have another question. So, do the points for the 500 top universities accumulates if you studied for the bachelor's, master's, and PhD to different universities, all in the top 500?
You can use the highest score the university's points. So for example, and okay, for example, I just checked it. If you were the you graduated and the master's in one of the 500 in the world and top universities, you may get 20, and also you got the PhD from here in Korea. If you want to get highest score, it'll be better to use your master's from your 500 universities, because you may get 20 points. But if you using the PhD degree in Korea, you may get 10 additional points. So you can choose highest scores, okay, but cannot combine.
Okay. There is also a really interesting question. This person is under D7 visa.
D7, yes.
D7 visa and willing to apply for the permanent residency visa.
That's
F5.
good. Okay, good.
And is there any mandatory condition?
But actually, when
is it actually possible?
It's some of person, but every time that I explain the permanent residency, and I just explain EPICUP, eligibility. D7 to F5 is no problem. And P, the period, and the 5 years from D7 to F5, right? Then PI, income, the last year's income shall be over GNI double, like a 75 million won or more. And EPICUP, Korean language proficiency, and the KIP stage 5 completion, and A, academic degree is not required, and P, and the permanent residency, permanent employment is not required. So EPIC is required, means need 5 years, KIP stage 5 completion, and the GNI double income. So who can meet this one properly? So in this case, I just recommend in F7 or the F99 and other F2 in the residence visa system. It'll be better to make your income higher. So if you have a chance, like F7 is more applicable and recommendable before F5. Okay.
Yes. I think we should finish in here. It's just like that. Time is almost over.
I'm hungry.
Thank you.
I'm hungry.
Thank you for coming here today and joining us. And I would love to also tell all other people who's listening to us, like if you couldn't hear the answer for your question, or if you have questions but couldn't upload to the chat room, please contact Yeoksam Global Village Center. You can just upload the Google form, and then we will organize meeting with Mr. Jang and you. Thank you for listening to us, and we will be back in 30 minutes for giving information about scholarships in Korea. We will have also unique people in here who's going to give different informations about different scholarships in Korea. Please stay in here. We'll be back in 30 minutes. Thank you.